Hi fam, thank you so much for tuning in. Today we have Inspired Pleasure and Creativity with Melissa Vranjes. I'm so excited to share her wisdom with you and to come on live, which is super exciting. I just wanted to say thank you to everyone who tunes in today. It's so nice to connect, to drop in, and to really bring you some incredible guests that light up my soul and who inspire me. So, as we always do, I invite our incredible guest in, which is Melissa Vranjes today, and then we'll get the show on the road. How does that sound? Great? Yeah, I thought so. Okay. 2 6 fan.
Here we are.
Here we are in Instagram land. How are you?
I'm good, babe. How are you? Lovely to
I'm
see your
so,
face.
so
Cozy.
good to see your stream. Oh, I'm so pumped. Oh, yay. Oh, thank you so much for taking this time. We really appreciate you.
Of course. I'm fucking awful. I'm gonna swear. I'm probably gonna swear. Let's just like pop that
Yes,
right
please.
there.
Yeah,
All about getting inspired and creativity and pleasure and all of the things. So I'm so here for it.
I'm so freaking pumped. Oh, you've got your beautiful mug as well. Hi, Kika. Hi, everyone who's tuning in. Okay, so how we do this is that I introduce Mel. So this is my, okay. So you're probably wondering who's Mel. You know, like what's the biz? And wow, like WOW. You know, if that was a gift or I could create an emoji right now, I absolutely would. Look up wow in the dictionary, you'll find Mel. Um,
Oh
and so
gosh, stop it.
Mel for me is like one. She's a holistic sex coach. She liberates women in the bedroom with relationships and giving them more confidence. Yeah, and that's what I love about Mel and her journey. And uh, to me, Mel represents like a whole and full woman who's willing
Mm,
to just meet her edges with love and compassion and to liberate women in a way that's soft and gentle and approachable and with love. And yeah, I've just been so honored to be able to share this journey. And I'm so freaking grateful that we get to share this timeline together because I'm like, yay, everyone
oh
needs a
yeah.
Mel in their life. And
Everyone needs a fucking Julie in their life. Come on.
yes,
We
let's
need the
go.
duo.
Right? Just like a duo pack. Like,
Yeah.
so
Buy
yeah,
one, get
Mel
one
has.
free.
I can see it now, like a little Barbie Kindle. Like we come together. So your Mel's really personally supported me in my own journey of pleasure and sex, like me, my own sex, and just being able to be in my body. I purchased my first rose quartz wand from Mel like
Mm.
4 years ago. I can't do the maths. It feels like it's all kind of quantum into like
Totally.
so yeah, and I felt so supported and so seen, and yeah, I'm just so incredibly grateful for that, to be able to connect to my womb space again through the
Mm.
practices and through your work. So it's my absolute honor to welcome Mel to the stage.
Mm.
Let's give it this away. Welcome to
Oh
the
my
stadium,
gosh.
my love.
Wow, I was just mesmerized. I'm sitting here just being like, wow, I've never heard anyone talk about me like this ever.
Just receive, honey.
Oh, so good to be here and so good to, yeah, really honor our journey together as well, starting off, um, I can't remember, soiree? No.
Oh,
How do you,
sir.
sir,
It's
yeah, oh my God,
sir.
soiree.
Sir. It's, I know it's French. And
Tried to put on my French accent, but just honoring, like, yeah, the first time that you brought a wand, and I actually remember that message, and it was so beautiful to feel your vulnerability and for you to reach out, and it was just a real moment of honoring you and your path and your journey as well. And then moving through the many different stages of our relationship and friendship as well, you know, knowing each other through some of our friends and connecting and keeping in touch and talking and always supporting each other. It's just been so nice to feel that.
And vice versa. How cool. And thank you for reflecting that back around the vulnerability piece, because it's so true. When we do drop into our pleasure, or even considering that I'm enough to buy something that's for me and for my intimacy, I was like, it was a big edge for me, and I felt so supported. And it's so true. It's the vulnerability in that.
Massive. And literally, like, so the classroom tonight is all about vulnerability, and I just wrote our workbook on it, and it just like re-triggered how incredible vulnerability is. And I know, like, we're not talking about vulnerability today, but it's so courageous for people to be vulnerable. Like, for anyone who shares their heart, or just that an experience triggered them, I'm like, oh, like, amazing. You know, I just think it's such a superpower for someone to be vulnerable. So yeah, superpowers on you.
Thank you. And I think, yeah, it's so true, because I guess this also ties into where we wanted to speak about with like pleasure and creativity. But it is so true, is that to drop into our pleasure, we have to be vulnerable with our real feelings and how they show up in those triggers. So speak to us. Tell us about,
Yeah.
you know, we can just segue into this. Let's go. So like segueing into from vulnerability to pleasure and then to creativity, like tell us how that lands for you. Like, I'm just gonna pass the mic.
Yeah.
Speak
Okay.
to us.
I'm like, where do
It's
you
not really a
go?
question, but I was
Big
like,
topic.
you feel it.
Oh my gosh, I love it.
That's what happens.
Okay, I'm gonna pick up the pieces. Essentially, like, let's talk about pleasure and creativity, right? Because in my world, without pleasure, there is only surface creativity. Like, without being connected to what really lights me up and what I desire and what gets me going. And, you know, let's just put like a little piece here, that pleasure doesn't just mean sex. Pleasure doesn't just mean stripping down and like touching your genitals. Pleasure doesn't mean needing somebody else to access that. Pleasure is simply tuning into senses, like enjoyable senses within you, mind, body, spirit, and really connecting to the part of you that lights up, right? Could be eating something delicious. Like, I had tacos before this, and I was like, God, this is good. Like, I love it. And that brings me pleasure, right? So that, like, when I eat that, I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to write some content. So that channels creativity for me. Then when we talk about pleasure, you know, sexual pleasure, that also lights up creativity for me, because if we go as deep into life force energy, if you really think about life force energy, which is sexual energy, that creates life, right? People coming together where there is sexual energy, that can create life. We have the ability to create life from that. So I just think, you know, when we really combine and we connect to our pleasure, we can connect to our creativity even more. If you're a really creative person and you haven't tuned into like your sensual self or your sexuality, just imagine going even deeper into you, into your heart, into your soul. And for me, I think that's where a lot of people create from, right? When you're a creator, it's like creating from your heart, creating from your source. And it's also where you create like pleasure as well, and magic within that. So I kind of just like riffed on whatever there, but I really do believe, yeah, that when we are tapped into our pleasure, that we are tapped into creativity even more.
Wasn't it great? Wasn't it? I wish there was an audience. Got some audience participation. Please add some comments if you're watching. How beautiful was that? Like, that riff was poetic. It was beautiful. You know, if we're tapping into our pleasure and tapping into our creativity, the life force energy and that creation, that sexual energy that moves through our bodies. And it doesn't have to be based around sex. It can be based around tacos. Who loves tacos? I love
Holla.
tacos. Like, who doesn't? I love tacos. I was eating some coconut mango yogurt this morning, and I was like, what a treat.
Isn't it so good? And like,
So,
I truly believe that that feeling, right? So when we talk about sexual energy, it's
yes.
that feeling of like, right, somebody touches you in a delicious place and it's like, oh my God, it's that light. Or you really like someone and you're messaging them and you're like, oh my God, it's that energy. And when you reflect that back to creating and you create something that like visually or aesthetically, it's like, fuck yeah, that's good. Or like, oh, that's like really doing something to me. It's that same power, it's that same energy. So the more you're tapped into that, the more aliveness you will feel in your body when you create, when you have sex, when you're intimate with yourself or a partner. Like they're so intertwined.
Well, just whoever's tuning in, how good are these little golden nuggets of pleasure being tapped in and having that? It's true, it's that little, those pings of excitement and joy, like, and when whether you're texting someone or you're like, or you're, it's just so exciting. And
Yeah.
I think that's something that we've because we can come into a space of do, and that we
Mm,
forget to come back and go like, what actually lights me up, like what feels
mm,
juicy and exciting, and not like, I have to do this.
yeah.
It's like we can so I'd love to hear your like maybe 3 tips or 2 tips or even one juicy tip on how to come back into that space of what can inspire the pleasure within yourself to spark those creativity things.
Mm.
Mm,
Yeah. The first thing that you said is like that do. It's
mm,
rest. If you think about, again, I'm going to pop it into the context of intimacy, that if you're like, oh, I must have sex or I must self pleasure, are those sessions like going to light you up, or is it just like something that you just got to get done? Usually, a
yes.
lot of the time, you just do it and you forget about it. But when you take your time to really touch yourself and explore your body, it's like, whoa, God, it's been a while. Well, this feels so good. And I think with creativity as well, it's like when there is that force, when there is that push, like, I must do this, I have to do this, or I haven't posted and I just must do that. It's like, says who? Like, where is that coming from? And can we just unpack that pressure? And once we unpack that pressure, we soon realize that actually it's just us that's doing that.
Mm,
And how can we come back into the space of simply creating from heart or from pussy or from soul or from wherever? And usually it's like you need rest and you need time for that to come through. No way am I always just like creating and pumping stuff out. I'll have naps. I'll take the weekend off. I'll get off social. So I think it's
mm,
just so important to like pull back a little bit and just like look at it from a bird's eye view. What's really important here? And like, where is this pressure coming from? Can I unpack this? Is this really
mhm,
important? What's going to nourish my nervous system? What's going to make me come back into my body? Getting out of nature, being with friends, having a cocktail, bringing back that aliveness, and then let that aliveness start triggering your creativity
mm.
rather than trying to force it.
I love
Don't know if there are any tips in there, but
There were tips. There were tips. Absolutely. Little pings, little
mm,
pings. That was beautiful. And it is so true. And I love that rest, taking time to release the pressure. Like, take your foot off the old break a bit.
yeah,
I'm just
love
coming
that
up with
sound
all these
effect.
sounds. What is coming through? I'm like, anyway.
I love it.
Sure.
It's true
Um,
though.
yeah. And it's so, and because when you're, and it is so true, the amount of pressure is even, so entrepreneurs, anyone who's a creative, that's like, just churn it out. And we have this expectation to just keep going. And it's
Mm,
like, not one that can relate to relationships, like, just make it work. It's like, sometimes you need space to
totally.
breathe and like, it's
Even
actually, it's like, mm.
no, go for it. I fully interrupted you.
It's like
Sorry.
it's like you're having like a codependent relationship with your creativity.
Yes, Yes. Oh
You know,
my
like,
gosh.
bruh,
Yeah.
breathe, go out, you know, go make some new friends for a bit, go and then come back.
Yeah. Yeah. And as you were saying that, I was thinking about like orgasm, even, you know, when there's this pressure of like, must orgasm today or must have this kind of orgasm. And it's like this pressure that we're putting on ourselves. Like the world is already piling loads of pressure on us. Like, how can we discern what's ours and what's not ours, and like what's important and what's not important, and what can wait and what can't wait? You know, it's just like, wow, how can I just sift through all this information that I've got right now? My nervous system is overloaded, or I'm needing to launch or something like that. How can I sift through all this information and come back to pleasure, come back to my source, and really create from there?
That's beautiful. I love that. It's because creativity comes from a different place, right? Like
Mm,
logical, you can just be like, okay, cool, here's a checklist, do. But like
yeah.
creativity comes from like the soul, where it's like, I'm so juicy and I wanna thrive. And you and you know, so you've got to fit. It's like it gets fed a different kind of nutrition plan, you know, like,
Yeah,
and then pleasure.
totally.
Pleasure is on top of that creativity pleasure plan, like,
Yeah.
and so like I feel that because yeah, so many things are landing in this, in the sense that it is just taking that time to rest, dropping into
Mm,
that beautiful space of your own creativity from your own soul and your soul on your own life force energy, instead of relying on
mm.
external sources as well. Um,
Yeah. Just
so
coming back to
within.
you, like coming back to you and using the tools around you, nature, your journal, yoga, meditation, all of those things. And you know, something I always found is, and I even did this the other night. I was like, oh my gosh, I haven't done my content for the week. Like, must write it down at 7 p.m. And I just like, I kept getting stuck on writing. Like nothing was coming from that. Like, fuck yeah, let's like, woo, this is fire. And I just had a moment that's like, I'm gonna sit here for another 2 hours hoping that something comes out of me, or am I gonna like close the door of my office, go hang with my man, and come back to this tomorrow when I've actually like I'm more tapped in. And it's like,
Mm,
I'm going to close the door. I'm going to hang with my man. I'm going to love him up. And then I'm going to come back to this tomorrow. And again, it's just that pressure, right? Do we
mm,
really need to do this right now?
yes, I love that, and also, and I love that piece, Mel, about how you just gave yourself permission to shut the door. So the creators out there, it is okay to be like, you know, just trying to push and push. Like, this is to give you full permission to go, I'm going to take myself away from this, juice myself
Yeah.
up, create beautiful connections, journal, yoga, any type of form of just getting out of your head. And then
Mm.
returning the next day, like, don't worry, it'll be there the next day. Like, we have this, like, the world is ending energy, you know, and it's like, it's really
I
not.
know. And no one's waiting for that piece of content. You know, even if you said, like, I'm launching today, no one's going, like, when's it coming? No, like, even though we think that. Like nine times out of ten, no one's like sitting there waiting for it. It's like, bless, you know, I would love to think that people are sitting
Yeah,
there waiting for this one piece of content that's taken me 3 days to write, but
waiting.
they're not.
Let this. Why is she not posted?
Where is she?
Yes.
Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, I think it's cool just to take a bit of the ego out of it as well and just come back again to source.
I love that. And so, Mel, what would be your key takeaway to anyone who's watching in regards to, like, I'm a busy creative entrepreneur. I'm really, I'm always in my head, and I want to come back
Mm.
to my body, and I want to tap into this source you speak about, and I love, you know, and I, and you know how you radiate in your own magic. Like, what would be your key takeaway to those beautiful people watching?
Mm. I think the first thing is like looking after yourself, taking care of yourself. And, you know, we've said yoga, meditation, things like that. But I think it's really coming back to how can I care for myself? Because when I care for myself, I work or I create from a better place. That is like tip number one. And,
Beautiful.
and care looks like the food you eat, how you move your body, getting out in nature, doing all the things that we know that we need to do, but it's actually prioritizing that and not going like, okay, yeah, I've got to exercise and being like, oops, I didn't do it this week. It's like, how can I actually put myself first? Like, how can I fully do that? And commit to that. And then,
Mm,
like, the second one is like, I'm going to turn it up a bit here and just say,
yeah.
self-pleasuring and like touching yourself and like connecting to your body and really like I like this is my vessel that I create, that I move through life, like how effing phenomenal. And just like getting back into your body, we exist from here up so often, too much. So how can you start existing from here down? Touch your body, look at your body in the mirror, like access more pleasure, have orgasms, buy things that really ignite you, right? Some silky
Mm,
clothes that tap you into your body. I like wearing clothes that I don't really feel like I'm wearing anything, to be honest, because it's just like such a liberating feeling. So
mm.
I think really self-care and like embodiment, coming back into your body, are the two biggest things that I just will never stop doing.
And I love that because it's you've actually created habits in those spaces of actually, self care, and then actually saying, if I'm going to go for a walk, go for a walk, do the things, prioritize. And then what's beautiful is coming back to your body with like self pleasure and touch and like feel and
Mm.
like, and there's, I love, because it's so true. Like, this is a beautiful
Yeah,
vessel. Like, you get one of these bad
yeah,
boys. Like, love it. And it's so true. It's like I actually wore this today because I felt very like whimsical and floaty.
yes. Oh, I love
Um,
it.
I have no pants on. That's the blessing of
Oh,
Instagram.
amazing.
But I do have these woolly socks on that I got from our beautiful friend Nikki. So
Oh,
I'm
cool. Oh my God, love
always
it. No pants,
professional.
woolly socks, flowing top.
You
Love.
know it. Love it.
Yeah, okay,
Um,
one last thing here. One last thing that I actually want to say,
shoot.
that's just like, you must say this. The
Yes.
busy entrepreneur thing, when you are stressed, when your nervous system is overdrive, when you're in fight or flight mode and you're either in burnout or leading to burnout, pleasure is the medicine that's going to bring you home. Getting back into your body and going, I'm here for you. What do you need? I love you, right?
Mhm.
Orgasms, releasing endorphins, oxytocin, like all of that stuff is going to nurture and nourish your nervous system. And that's what's going to help you when you're stressed. I still get stressed, but I always come back to pleasure, right? How can I touch my breasts today? Let's go, fuck, I've got you. I'm holding you. I love you. Like, let's nail this day.
Mm.
Simple. Sorry, I just had to say that.
Oh, crowd goes wild. Oh. I'm going to have to get. I can't wait when I get a studio and I actually get in person. I'm gonna have like fireworks and shit. You're not even gonna
Yeah.
see what's gonna happen. I
Even
know,
full
right?
sound
I've got
effects keyboard.
sirens.
Love that
Oh, you
so
know
much.
it. I just think it's so beautiful because it is like, so when you come back to your body, you can just like self pleasure and actually release, the oxytocin and the deliciousness. Deliciousness, yeah, that is the key. You got there. That is the key, and I think that's so
Mm,
beautiful. And so, thank you so much for sharing because it is so freaking important. Because otherwise, we're
big
just going to
time.
burn out or just be more stressed, and then that's going to create more ailments in the body. And next thing you know, you're wondering why I have ulcers in my mouth or some kind of, your body.
Totally.
Us, yeah, your body knows.
Yeah,
So it's
totally.
listen. Listen. Um, and I love so Mel. How do we work with you? Like, because clearly you're the pleasure queen, holistic sex coach who has created such beautiful offerings for women to be able to feel liberated in themselves and to come back to their home, their own vessel. So please talk to us about how we can work with you and.
Yes, absolutely. Well, there's a few options to enter my world. So at the moment, there's three options. So the first is a membership. So it's called the Classroom, which is a holistic sex education membership. It's a monthly membership to better sex, intimacy, and relationships. And it is a phenomenal offering. It has different rooms that you can explore, interviews, meditation lounge, teachers interview, and I've just opened up the gymnasium, which essentially is me getting wild on a bedroom, showing you how to do epic tricks. So that's the first one that happens every month. Then the second one is my latest program called Intimate, and that is a 6-week program, and it's only 20 women, and it's like the stepping stone for anybody wanting to start their journey into sex and pleasure and relationships. And it's really for those who are feeling lost, or they just want to go deeper with their sexual journey. So that's the second one. And of course, the third one is I am offering one-to-ones. I have really got limited spaces for the rest of the year, but that's kind of the cherry on top, where we get to work together intimately and just laser focusing on you and your desires and what you're wanting to work on.
How beautiful. This is how you can get into Mel's world. I'm so blessed to be able to share this world with you. And that's just, so again, so whoever's watching, if you're watching on the replay, watching live, Mel has her beautiful subscription monthly service. I've seen the classroom and I saw the gym and I was like, girl, yes. I was like, so you're thrusting on the bed? And I'm like, yes.
Everyone loves that. Everyone's like, great thrust. Like, the pillow thrusting was my favorite. I was like, wait till you watch the full thing.
So good. And then you've got your intimate 6-week program with 20 women, which is just, that's beautiful. And what it would be such a safe and inviting space to be able to drop into your own body. And I love the one-on-one offerings, having that laser focus into your desires. Like, yes, why wouldn't you? You know, the time is now, woman, and you know, like, to get in there, thrust yourself into life. You're welcome. You can take that one, babes.
If that's not an end note, then I don't know what is.
Right. Oh, well, I love you so much. Thank you so much for tuning in. Your time, your love, your energy. I love you so much. And what an absolute blessing to hang out. You're such a superstar.
So good.
And I think you're the bee's knees.
Gosh, you are adorable. Thank you so much, Faye, for having me on here and just being able to talk about creativity and pleasure. It's such a cool, nuanced topic to really bring to the entrepreneurial world as well. So thank you for inviting me and just creating this space to have a laugh. Like, how good's laughing and humor, and just having cool chats. So thank you so much. I love you with all my heart and soul and puss.
That's beautiful. I feel like I was going to say again, like, how much I love you, but I feel like this is going to be the you hang up. No, you hang up. I love you. Love thank you. I received that with so much love in my heart. Enjoy your day, and thank you for everyone who tuned in. You're amazing. Make sure to follow Mel on her social channels, and just sending you all so much love. Thanks, Mel.
Love you, gorgeous.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye.
Love you, sunshine. Bye. Isn't she just a powerhouse? Thank you so much to everyone who tuned in. Thank you, Mans, for your incredible feedback as well. I just wanted to say thank you. And thank you to everyone who tuned in today. You're amazing. You're abundant. You're expansive. You're delicious. You're beautiful. Pleasure, creativity can flow through you easily and effortlessly if you decide to tap into your own body. And that's the beautiful body that we've all been blessed with. So look after this bad boy. You're welcome. Have a beautiful afternoon, evening, morning, wherever you're tuning in from. Love you so much.